So you want to become an entrepreneur? Well, let me ask you this one thing right here. Are you ready to work 16-hour days? No steady income, no guarantee that you'll succeed at all. Are you still interested? You see, most people love the idea of becoming an entrepreneur, but they have no clue what it takes to become a successful one. So in this video, I'll be breaking down the real signs that show you whether or not you are meant to become an entrepreneur, or if you're just chasing the dream without the drive. Let's do this. The perception versus the reality. I want to be my own boss. I want financial freedom. I want to work whenever I want to, from wherever I want to. I don't want to answer to anyone. But the reality is, you answer to your customers, market trends, investors, and partners. You don't just work 9 to 5. You're on the clock 24/7. There's no off-limit times for an entrepreneur. When a fire rises, it has to be put out. You see, it's lonely, it's uncertain, and you fail way more times than you succeed. Financial freedom, look, only if you survive the first 3 to 5 years, there's any glimmer of financial freedom. So the real takeaway from this perception versus reality is you have to embrace the uncertainties. You have to embrace what entrepreneurship is. You have to actually love the grind, and don't forget that every day, all the obstacles and everything that you're in, that is the journey, right? You have to embrace that. You have to embrace learning new things and all the uncertainties. It's not going to be this quick win, but when you do win, it's the ultimate road to actual freedom. These are the common traits of real entrepreneurs. I would say the first one, you'll always find a way to make money. In school, you're flipping clothes, you're making something, you're selling something, you're the middleman. Like what I used to do back in school, I used to import Nike shoes and Evisu jeans from China, and I used to mark them up and sell them to all my homies. So everyone was rocking fake Nikes and Evisu jeans and Bape hoodies and shit because I was slanging all that stuff, importing it from China while I was in school. Then moving on to tattooing, flipping cars. Like I've been doing a lot of stuff. So I just always knew I was born into entrepreneurship, but that doesn't go for all the siblings in my family. Certain people have it, some don't. Entrepreneurs don't wait around for opportunities. Real entrepreneurs go out and create opportunities. The second one has to be real entrepreneurs just can't handle being told what to do. If you've ever struggled with a job, not because you're lazy, not because you're not focused, but because you just can't take direction from someone, you can't stand to do it in a certain time frame. You have to have stuff done in your own time frame. Like for me, I will have it done by the time it needs to get done. I might just do all of it in the last 10 minutes. Well, but that's just how I do it. So for me, my previous person that I worked under wanted me to do things in the office at certain times. But in my head, I'm like, as long as you have it delivered on your desk and it's done by the time you want it done, isn't that all that matters? And that just constant friction would cause issues. And never being satisfied. I mean, I guess that's a negative, but that's a trait that most of us entrepreneurs have. Once we reach a goal, we're like, okay, now what? You never really take time to applaud yourself or to embrace it and live in the moment. It's always just on to the next thing, on to the next thing. Just hitting your goals is your minimum requirement as an entrepreneur, you know? Hitting the goal, which is the top for other people, that is just the bare minimum for you. Of course you have to hit it. So if you're one of those people that just love clocking out at 5 o'clock, you turn off your phone, my boss, my job, no one exists to me. I'm just can't wait to go home, hang out with the kids, watch Netflix, and just shut the world out. It's not for you, because I'll be having business meeting, phone calls happening in the middle of dinner sometimes if I really need to catch that call, you know? There's no such thing as turning it off, or having Skype calls at 1 a.m. because your suppliers are in China, you know? Like there's just no off time for a real entrepreneur. So if you're cool with that, entrepreneurship might be for you. So if you're a true risk taker, entrepreneurship is for you, because even if you're down to your last $1,000, being able to say, you know what, YOLO, I'm gonna risk this last $1,000 because I believe in myself that much. Personal story here. I moved to the States, had no money, nothing. I had spent everything to start this tech company, and I was down to my last $1,300, and my rent for the next month was $2,100. I really had no idea because I couldn't make money in the States at that point. I was here on a visa, so I could only work within this business that I had started. No money left, rent, car payment, gas, everything. So I was broke, to say the least, right? Keep in mind, this was me at 27. I had made 6 figures before this, but I was down again to $1,000 because I had put everything, all the faith in myself. Met this guy, had a meeting, at a lunch, told him about my business idea. And lo and behold, he was like, I have investors, let's pitch them. Jumped on a phone call, pitched them, they liked it. 2 weeks later, $1.5 million was sitting in my business bank account. From 2 weeks prior, broke. So you have to be able to risk everything over and over and believe in yourself, and believe in yourself in a way that is not normal. By the grace of God and just faith in myself and in that everything will work out, things just work out. So you have to have that mindset. You're a natural problem solver. Other people see problems. You see solutions. Other people see, oh, this doesn't work. And you're like, how can I make it work? Oh, I wish this had this one feature so that it would work better. That's an opportunity. That's the way of an entrepreneur mind. That's how an entrepreneur thinks all the time. There's no shutting this off, by the way. So if your first instinct is to figure it out instead of giving up when something goes wrong, that right there might be another indicator that you're a true entrepreneur at heart. So to wrap this little segment up, if any of these traits sound like you, then entrepreneurship might be for you. But if they sounded like a hassle and something that you wouldn't feel comfortable in, then maybe it's just not in your DNA. Okay, so let's dig into it. This is the brutal truth. Are you ready? Ask yourself these hard questions. Number 1, are you willing to work 80-hour weeks for years with no guaranteed success whatsoever? 2, can you stay focused and determined and actually get stuff done without a boss telling you what to do constantly? 3, are you comfortable taking high risks that could wipe out your entire savings and leave you dead broke? 4, do you enjoy problem solving on a daily basis and don't feel like this stresses you out? 5, last, are you okay with being solo? Are you okay with being lonely? Are you okay with just being a hermit, locking in, going ghost for a long time? Putting aside lust, putting aside pleasure, friendship, connections, all of these things. Is that something you're cool with? If you said no to most of these, don't be worried. You might be great at working with an entrepreneur and you could still reap the benefits and get equity and really knock it out the park by working with an entrepreneur from the start and be a really good right-hand person. But if you answered yes to most of these, chances are a real entrepreneur is in your DNA and you need to go for it. Trust me, your future self will thank you for the amount of damage this entrepreneur can do to the world. Okay, so final thoughts here. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but it's not for everyone. And it's important to be honest and ask yourselves those questions, because if not, you might find yourself 10 years later and you're miserable and you're like, why did I do this? This is not for me. Ask yourself these questions in the beginning so that you're able to navigate and figure out, maybe I'm a better partner in a company. Maybe that's what I should work more towards. I have friends in the medical field that are salespeople that are working their way up to get equity or some kind of ownership when the company exits. That's a great way. Like, you can become a multi-millionaire that way. But I also have friends that are entrepreneurs that are super successful, that have just gone balls to the wall, followed everything that I say here and just embraced it from the get-go, never deviated, and they are way bigger. They are the owners of the medical companies. It just comes down to you. Be honest with yourself. What's the right thing for me? That's the only thing that matters, because all the money in the world does not matter if you're unhappy, stressed. Believe me, man, stress can do a lot of damage to the body. Do you think you have what it takes? Drop it in the comments. Do you think you have what it takes to become an entrepreneur? If not, then tell me, what kind of line of business would you want to be in, and what kind of entrepreneur would you want to work alongside in order to reap the real benefits of a cash out in the future? Let's get the convo going. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say.